cracking, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. New video. Today is going to be episode 1 of my so-called docu-series. I'm calling it a docu-series of the impact of my life crime, my murder, on the people that were in my life, a part of my life, friends, family, back when I caught my case, people that knew me before my case, growing up with. So it's gonna be a lot of friends and family, mainly family probably. And I want to let you guys know what this is inspired by. It's inspired by a book called, I believe it's called Beyond the Bullet. And that book was written by victims of gun violence, right? And it's a very sad book. If you have a conscience and you read that book, it is an emotional book. What I want to do with this series is this. I want to shed light on all the victims, right? And when I say all the victims, of course, my direct victim, the person that I killed, his friends that were there that I wanted to kill that night. Those are all my direct victims. They have family and friends that were indirect victims of my decisions, right? But my family, my mother, my daughter, her mom, my friends, they were also victims of my decisions, my poor decision making. And I think that's never been done before. It's never been done. My camera's tripping. It's never been done where the aggressors, family and friends, their story was heard. Is it worth hearing? I believe so. I believe that everybody's story should be heard, all victims in crimes. So that is what I'm trying to do, while also finding out what was the impact of my horrible decisions on other people's lives. So with that, we're going to go ahead and check this out. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. Do me a favor, leave a comment, like the video if you liked it, and share the video with someone else. I appreciate you. Everybody, please be safe, be smart, and tell the ones you love that you love them. I'm out of here. All right, what's cracking, everybody? So today, this is episode 1 of we're going to call it a docu-series right now, my impact on other people's lives, on the people that were in my life when I had caught my murder. And just, I don't know, we're going to just go from there. So this is my childhood friend, my homeboy. We grew up in the same neighborhood. It's my homeboy, Larry. How you doing, Larry?
Good.
So, how old were you, if you remember, when we met?
We're like in 7th grade, probably like 12, 13 maybe.
Mm-hmm. And what do you remember about meeting me and how I was back then?
Well, I don't know. At the time, we just had probably got out of elementary school. We were all going through different things, like transitional things of trying to grow up, see who we're going to become and which ways we all wanted to go.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of that, so we're from Santa Barbara, and a lot of people don't understand how Santa Barbara was back then because it's such a beautiful city. They think there's nobody poor and nobody struggled there. What is your recollection of living on the west side in Santa Barbara in 1986, 1987?
Well, living in Santa Barbara was a lot different than it is now. Right now it's like a lot more tourism going on over there, but back then it was like people that grew up there were, when you're in a town like back then, it everybody knows everybody and everything, so it's smaller. But then all of a sudden, like, all the commercialized stuff kicks in and all that kind of stuff. But the neighborhoods are still there. It's just they kind of just changed everything in the city, including the buildings.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. it got way more gentrified, right?
Yeah.
Even downtown's not the same. You go down State Street. Everybody, we used to cruise State Street in the, in the 80s, even before in the 70s. I think they cruised Milpas and State, but then State took over, and then now you can't even go down there. It's like if you go to downtown Ventura, downtown Santa Barbara and downtown Ventura are pretty much the same. You can't really drive around. They're forcing you to get out of your cars and stuff. But anyways, so what I was getting at is the gang stuff, because you know what wound up happening with me and stuff. Do you remember when when I started going to jail, going to juvenile hall and all that stuff? Do you even remember that?
Yeah, I remember. I remember all of us we're all, just trying to find our way, and we all hung out together, we stuck together, and different things started happening in life. When you're a youngster like that, you start dealing with real life issues, and even before that, but you deal with real life issues, and that's pretty much every youngster's transitional period at that time. So when you're in middle school and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then I don't know if you remember, so we had Dr. Del Bello. Remember, he was the principal at La Cumbra, where the junior high we went to on the west side. And then in 8th grade is when Miss O'Leary came. I don't know if you remember when she came.
Yeah, she was the new principal.
And when she came in, she said, I'm getting rid of all the gang members, the biggest troublemakers in school. They're out of here. And she got me out of there quick as hell. I don't know if you remember when I got kicked out and I got sent to the VIA. And then, do you remember when I got sent to probation school?
Yeah, all of a sudden you were gone. Like, where is this fool at?
Yeah. And then, but it was not long after that where I wound up going to the California Youth Authority and doing 3 years. What did you think when you heard about, like, because I know I talked to other homies and they were like, man, I never thought you were going to get out. Like Caesar was like, I never thought you were going to get out because I stayed messing up in there. You know what I mean? But what was your thinking? Or were you just living your life and like, he'll be back when he's back?
I really thought maybe at first when I didn't see you at school, I was like, man, maybe he's sick, maybe some. I was going to see you around the neighborhood, so it wasn't like tripping on it, right? But then all of a sudden I didn't see you at school, and I was like, damn, like maybe something really popped off,
Mm-hmm.
And so, I didn't see you at school, and all that stuff started going down and stuff like that. And I was like, dang, made me kind of think about myself and everybody that I was kicking it with, and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that.
Mm-hmm. So I was in YA. I think it was 3 years and 3 months. I can't remember. It was 3 years. I know for a fact I did 3 years, and I had went in the end of '89, and I paroled January 5th of 1993. And so I was gone a while, and those were the years where everybody was really running around and, having fun. And I was just over there in YA with a bunch of dudes trying to see who was tougher than who. You know what I mean? So I missed out on a lot of stuff. When I paroled in 93, I wanted to do so many things, but I was too caught up in wanting to prove myself still as I'm that dude. Nobody can convince me I wasn't the hardest dude alive. I wasn't the downest dude from the neighborhood and all that. But I remember seeing you a few times. We ran into each other a few times. But I think at that point, I'm not sure. I don't remember if you were already starting to, I think, because I remember seeing you with your lady one time. And at a doctor's appointment. I was with my daughter's mom. So I don't remember if that's who you wound up having your first child with.
It was probably my son's mom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was a youngster at the time.
Yeah, and I remember because you weren't in the neighborhood as much as my dumbass was still in there, running around, 19 years old, thinking, okay, yeah, it's still cool. But I guess at that age, we still think it's fun,
Yeah.
But what I want to get to, and I know what everybody probably wants to hear about is, do you remember the day that whole incident happened? My murder went down.
Yeah, I remember exactly the day.
Mm-hmm. What is it you remember about that?
Well, I believe the one day I was there that day, and I happened to, someone had picked me up. Another friend had picked me up, and I had left. And at that point, the next day when I had heard about, you know, some stuff went down in the neighborhood, I was kind of surprised, but I was like, dang, you know, stuff always be going down. And, you know, I just started hearing from other homies and different stuff. And, you know, I just wanted to find out what was going on, you know?
Yeah, so it happened, I don't remember if it was like on a Sunday or something. I don't remember what day it was. But I remember, so it happened on June 27th is when the incident went down. And then I got busted June 29th, right? So there was a few days that went by. They were kicking everybody's door down in the neighborhood. They were doing gang sweeps. They were asking for a specific person. We're not going to get into who that dude is. That dude turned himself in and gave me up. And then, you know, the rest is history as far as what happened, you know, with court and everything. But my question is, did my incarceration for that murder have an impact on your life? And if so, what was it?
It did, because at that point when we were youngsters, we were all doing the same stuff. We were all doing the things that we weren't supposed to do. We were drinking, we were getting in fights with people. You know, we were doing all these different things. The way that it kind of changed me is at that time, you know, other people were just about the neighborhood and all that stuff. But, you know, me personally, I've always had football in my life. And football was kind of my way of getting away from everybody and letting my aggression out at practice and all those different things. And a lot of people at that age, you know, they don't have that other little option to do. So some people just get their aggression out on the streets, and I happen to just let my aggression out on the field.
Yeah, because I remember even growing up, because, you know, and that goes back to how people think Santa Barbara didn't have poor people. I remember a gang of homies. We wanted to go play YFL, which is Pop Warner in Santa Barbara. It's called YFL. We wanted to go play YFL and these other sports, and our families couldn't afford it. And so that kind of kept us in the streets. And, you know, and I don't know, you know, even when I did play YFL, I had 1 year of YFL. And I remember the coaches got mad at my homeboy at Caesar, right? And they told him, don't even show up. You ain't gonna. So what did I do? I didn't show up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that was that neighborhood thing where it was like, what? You're going to tell my homeboy he can't play? I ain't playing. You know, the ties were more to the streets. Whereas with you, that was a good thing where you had that as an outlet. And that was something that kept you away from what the rest of us were doing. But you were always, like, when we were growing up, you were always the one that was smarter. It's like you didn't get in trouble.
Well, I mean, I was down for my shit.
No, I know that.
But the thing is, this is like, when all that went down, I heard you were going to court, and, you know, homeboys were like talking on homeboys and all that kind of different stuff. Man, you know, it made me sad. Like, it made me think, like, fuck, we were all friends, and, you know, we were supposed to be tight with each other and all this, and then, like, I could just see things like breaking down, and it made me sad because I knew what you were going through. I mean, I knew your mom, I knew you, all growing up, and, like, you know, it didn't need to be like that. You know, it didn't need to go down like that, but it just did, and things just happened.
Yeah.
And I just looked at myself at that time, and I was like, man, I don't even know if I want to be a part of all our friends breaking apart from each other. So my way of just kind of hanging on the sidelines was like, man, I'm gonna go over here and see what's up with this football thing, and then you know, still be cool with my homies, and you know, just not get involved in all that political stuff that was going on at the time among friends. Cause like you personally, I've always looked at you as like my brother, not my homie. So I guess that's the difference. You know, when somebody's your brother, you ride or die with them. And when they're your homies, you know, they're your friends, but they're your acquaintance, you know, that sort of thing. But you've always been sort of like a brother to me, so I'm like, man, I don't even want to hear about it.
Yeah, you know, and that was the thing where I remember Chino, you know, rest in peace, Chino. But I remember when, you know, because I mean, you know, I started the Tinies, and he was like, homie, you started this clique, and these dudes didn't even hesitate to snitch on you. And he told me the same thing. He's like, man, I don't even want to kick it no more, homie. Like, and I told him, do whatever you want to do. You know what I mean? But I know there was a lot of stuff going on in the neighborhood, and honestly, I didn't even push nothing in the neighborhood. Behind all that, I didn't even put like, hey, fuck this dude, fuck that dude, because I was like, you know what, it is what it is. I'm behind the walls now. I got to focus on this, you know. But I know it did a lot in the neighborhood to a lot of different people. And it was unfortunate because there were people that were more popular in the neighborhood who actually did dirty shit in my case. But because they were more popular in the neighborhood, they were able to push what they did onto other people, you know, and it created problems for people that were straight up good dudes, you know. But like you said, that was just the politics of the neighborhood, and it was a damn shame. But anyways, we're already 13 minutes in. People are gonna, oh, why did he stop at 13 minutes? So we're not gonna stop at 13. We're gonna push to 15 because people be, YouTube's crazy. If we stop at 13, we're set tripping. We stop at 14, I don't know what it means. But I appreciate you doing this with me, and I'm hoping, I want to try to get at least 10 to 15 people to do other episodes of this. And so you were the first one. I appreciate it. And we're not going to be able to go 15 minutes because I can't stretch this out. But thank you, everybody, for watching. And stay tuned for the next episode.